Buongiorno, everybody. Obviously, this is a different face than what you're usually expecting, because you're usually expecting to see possibly me and Keg this side or Matty this side. But they're both busy today. They've left the ropes up to me. So fingers crossed it goes okay. If it doesn't, you're just going to have to deal with me today, unfortunately, guys. That's just the way it's going to have to be. But we've got a guest with me today. I hope I'm pointing the right way, because I don't really know. I'm filming on my phone, pointing, like, sorting on my laptop screen. So, you know, I don't know which way I'm pointing here, but we've got a guest today. Obviously, we've got Josh with us. I was going to call you Joshy there after your handle. But how are you today? How are you after that win, especially?
I'm good. Nervous, wasn't it? It was nerve-wracking towards the end. But then...
It was really, really... honestly, I thought at 75 minutes, I was going cardiac arrest. I was like, oh, my days, I'm going to have an ambulance at this point.
Do you know what? I was on Sky Bet trying to lump on West Ham, to be honest. I thought
my brother did the same, but Callum Wilson, he was like, why can't I put a bet on Callum Wilson? Is it because he's not on the pitch? But yeah, he was trying to put a bet on Callum Wilson to score. But great game though. Well,
for the neutral,
good win. Yeah. Wasn't a great game to watch, I must admit. It was actually really, really hard work. But when do we ever make anything easy? Let's just kick straight off. It wouldn't be
Newcastle if not, would it?
No, never ever. It's always hard work. But let's just kick straight off. Obviously, since you're the guest, Josh, I will give you the first player, which is obviously going to be Martin Dúbravka today.
Mr. Reliable, isn't he? He's just there's a reason he's number one, and the reason he's back in the team ahead of Darlow. He's just levels above. Easily one of our best players on the pitch again today. So
did you think sometimes, well, especially for their first goal, did you think he could have done better?
Yes and no. He was left at a loss, wasn't he? Fernandez was well out of position. But could he have got a stronger hand to it? Maybe. But you could see, if you watch the replay back, he's actually misfooted. So to get back and recover as well as he did really well. But it was a good header.
Yeah, it was, to be fair. I mean, you can't deny it. I just thought, you know, this is just typical Newcastle. We're 2-0 up. They're 10 men. I thought we're literally going to mess this up, like we do every single time. Luckily, we didn't. Obviously, thanks to Big Joe Willock, but we'll obviously come on to him later. So, out of 10, what would you give Dúbravka?
Solid 8, I reckon. I thought he'd done really well with his punching, his catching, his kicking was clean.
Yeah, just relatively well.
Yeah, he's Mr. Solid, isn't he?
As you say, he's Mr. Reliable. I mean, you can't... In my opinion, he's just more reliable than Darlow. I don't know whether it's just him as a player, like we rely on him more than Darlow. I'm not even doubting Darlow one bit, because I thought, you know, when he was obviously in the team instead of Dúbravka, I thought he was relatively fine, and he didn't really make that many mistakes, until towards the end when Dúbravka was back and, you know, Darlow was under pressure to keep that position. Then in my opinion,
you could see the pressure on him.
Yeah,
you could see he knew a couple of mistakes him out of the team, and Dubs is back in, and if Dubs is fit, he's not getting dropped.
100%. Okay, so we'll go on to the next one, which was Jacob Murphy. Again, I thought he was unreal today. I really, really did think he's one of the only players in our team who can actually cross a ball accurately. Because honestly, some of the crosses I saw attempted today were so poor. But he's always there. He's always solid. He works so hard. The fact that he's a boyhood Newcastle fan just makes it even better. And they're the players you need in the team. Like right now, you need people fighting for their place, like Matt Ritchie, Jacob Murphy. Like that's who you need. Again, I thought he had a really, really strong game again today. Didn't influence goals that much as he has in the past. Obviously, he had a couple of assists in the past few games, but he did influence the play going forward. And I thought he was really, really good today. Not really many mistakes came from his side. It was more the left-hand side with where Matt Ritchie was. But again, I didn't think Matt Ritchie had a bad game, actually. But yeah, Jacob Murphy, what did you think about Jacob Murphy today?
I thought he had a good game. I think he did really well against an informed Lingard.
Yeah.
Especially considering Murphy's not a defender, he's an attacker. And he's made that position his own. I think he's been phenomenal lately. I think he's had come on leaps and bounds since he's come back into the team. And I'm a big Manquillo fan. I think Manquillo is our first choice right back. But when we're playing this system, it has to be Murphy, because he's got that attacking now. So he's so much better on the ball.
100%. As well, as you say, he's made that position his own. And I know a few of us, I was one of them. I always more about 5 at the back, especially against, like when we were playing 5 at the back against Burnley, I was like, why? Like literally, why are you doing that? But it makes sense now because it's working. And he has made that position his own. Like as you say, in my opinion, Kraft is just very poor. I think Manquillo is probably our strongest flat right back if you're going to play a 4 at the back. But yeah, I think Jacob Murphy was brilliant again today, and he can have an 8 for me as well.
Yeah, it was class. It was good.
Fernandez.
I thought he looked out of sorts today.
I did.
I think he's normally pretty solid, but he looked out of sorts today. Something shook him. And I don't know whether that's... Normally he's obviously got Lascelles next to him, and Lascelles, as much as people moan on about him, he's that solid figure, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's the captain for a reason.
Organisation-wise, when Lascelles is in the team, the defence is more organised for some reason.
He learnt off Rafa, didn't he?
Yeah.
That's where he played his best football.
So vital under Rafa.
But no, I thought Fernandez looked shaky today. I'd probably give him... I'd give him a 7 because obviously we won. Yeah. But that's a very generous 7.
Yeah, I think so. Because obviously, as I say, their first goal we mentioned before, he was massively at fault. It was terrible. It was very, very terrible defending from him. But yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I'm not going to get onto Fernandez because for the past 3 years, I think he's been one of our most solid, reliable players. He's always there. He's never really let us down massively. So yeah, I think I'd agree with that. Ciaran Clark. For me, I thought Ciaran Clark, apart from the handball, which again was annoying. I've seen them given, I've seen them not given. You just don't know these days. I guess they were saying his hand was in an unnatural position, which fair enough, maybe it was. But as it's just consistency from VAR and the refs that really there was nothing really he could do. To be honest, I didn't see any what's the word? I didn't see any protests from the West Ham players actually when it had happened. And then I thought, oh God, here we go. It's just typical, absolutely typical Newcastle. We're 2-0 up. It's now going to be 2-2. Great penalty from Lingard, by the way. But yeah, Ciaran Clark again, I think apart from that mistake, was absolutely solid. I thought he made some really, really decent clearances, especially the first part of the second half where we came out. I don't know what the hell has been said. At half
you can only imagine, can't you?
Oh my God, what has been said? But yeah, I thought he was relatively solid today, and I thought he was good, so he can have an 8 from me.
Yeah, I think he always is. He's another one of those players, isn't he? Since he came in from Villa, he's just every time he's playing.
Oh, I think might have lost you for a bit there. You're back.
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah, I was there the whole time. I don't know what happened.
Might be me then. I might be speaking there later. Yeah, but no, as you say, he's so solid. And I think he's quite underrated because he was out for a patch as well where he just wasn't getting in the team. And I just think he's one of our most underrated and most reliable players that we've got. So, yeah, 100%. Paul Dummett, I'll give Paul Dummett to you.
Do you know what? I like Paul Dummett, but at the same time, I don't like Paul Dummett. There's just something about he's always solid, he's always reliable, and he's always there and thereabouts. But I'm sick of this long ball. I'm sick of this tap back to Dúbravka. He just doesn't seem to progress, and he doesn't seem to do anything other than either lump it forward or play it backwards. Which I know he's a left back, and it's not in his game to necessarily bomb forward, but there's got to be more to him than lumping it forward and hoping it lands on Joelinton's head.
He's like a Marmite player, Paul Dummett. I feel like you either really like him in the team or you don't. I think he's best in this formation where he's like on the left side of a back 3. I don't think as a left back, like that's where I would have him.
Yeah.
Now just with the way he's playing, the way that we've been playing is defensively. But yeah, I think he's just a complete Marmite player. You either like him or you don't. I've never really rated him hugely. I think he's going to be one of them players who just sees out his career at, Newcastle, I think, in my opinion. But what would you give Paul Dummett today?
I'd give him a 7 because I don't think our defence was actually that bad. I think we were pretty solid against most set pieces, apart from obviously the penalty, which debatable. Yeah. And the 3D up header, I don't think he did much wrong. It's just a constant lumping forward. It just does my head in.
It is. That is annoying mind when there's no one really to lump it forward to either. Like it's just it's just so frustrating. Matt Ritchie, we've touched on him several times already. I just think he is just 100% the type of player you need when you're in this predicament as a club. He's always given everything he can. He's given 110% every single time he's on the pitch. I've never ever had an issue with Matt Ritchie. I think the end of last season, beginning of the season, he kind of fell out of form a little bit. For some reason, he doesn't seem to be in Bruce's plans. Maybe, obviously, at the moment, we're playing well, so we're getting results. So he probably is in the plans for now. We signed Jamal Lewis, and so Matt Ritchie didn't really get a look in at left wing back or left back. I know we've obviously seen him as a winger pretty much most of his Newcastle career, and obviously this position now, I think he's doing really, really well. Again, he made some really important runs today. A couple of mistakes came from that side, but I don't think he's to blame fully for that, because the rest of the time he was up the pitch, he was intercepting, made some really, really good tackles as well. And he's just always really, again, he's another Mr. Solid. Like, he's always just there. I know he's had some bad games, but as a person and as a player, that is 100% the type of player you need. And I'm still surprised to this day that he's not been captain yet. Because in my opinion, right now, I would much rather have him over Jonjo Shelvey.
Definitely, I agree. I love him.
Yeah,
I absolutely love Matt Ritchie. He's just everything you want in a player, isn't he? He's passionate. He's rage. He's like Mr. Angry, but he's just optimized. I mean, was it the goal against Tottenham where he actually headed it in with Willock? And that?
Yeah,
you just watch that and you think, mate, you're fantastic.
There was another video as well today. My brother was showing me, because I was like, I'm sure that was last game, but no, there was another one today where he did the exact same thing, where he like jumped and like did a little. You don't see that a lot from players. No, you don't see the imaginary header. I love it.
Like the way he brings the team on. He wants to attack. You say about the mistakes, but he's still learning that position. He's always been an attacking winger. And he sort of, again, under Rafa, it was the progression came because he's getting older. He hasn't necessarily got the legs in him anymore, but he's probably the best crosser at the club. And it's just his passion is just unrivaled. He's brilliant. I love him.
I've just seen a comment here as well where it says Matt carries the badge the way that's meant to be carried, and that just literally describes him down to the ground. But yeah, Matt Ritchie can have a 9 for me today. I thought it was great, and we won. So, however, on the other hand, Jonjo Shelvey is another. Are you back?
I'm back. Yeah.
It's all going wrong today. You're just going to have to deal with this today, guys. Sorry.
It's probably me. I've been relegated to the bedroom by the kids because I watched the match.
It's just
I've been kicked out.
Your face is frozen, but I can hear you, so I hope everybody else can hear me. Can you let us know in the comments if you can hear Josh, please? But Jonjo Shelvey, you might have to leave and come back in. Oh, you're moving again now. You're all right. These three men, you can't trust it. Jonjo Shelvey today, I feel like he's a liability. Like, I think I tweeted like in the first, even I don't know if it was the first half or the beginning of the second half, he lost the ball so many times today. Literally, the first time they got a free kick and it was nearly a goal. And the second time they were already through on goal when he lost it. And there was just no point in putting ridiculous fouls in just to lose the ball, especially when with Lingard, they are, in my opinion, today maybe didn't show the best of it, but they are so lethal going forward with the introduction of Lingard. I really don't personally understand, aside from the fact he's captain, why he's in the team for me. I just really don't know why and don't understand it, and I probably never will. He seems to be obviously a Bruce favourite because he's been very, very, praising of Bruce. He's always come out with the good comments about him, and I think that's because he was so out of favour with Rafa, and it's like a bitterness, like doing it in spite of him. I don't really know why, but I just don't think he offered really anything great today. I don't know about you. Do you feel the same, or can you?
Yeah, I don't think he ever does. I think I did the same as you. I think I tweeted halfway through the first half and just said, I don't know what this man brings to the team anymore. No. Like, he's never been the quickest, but he's always had that eye for a pass, but he doesn't even do that anymore.
He doesn't, If he has a bad game, so obviously Steve Bruce was like, when Jonjo plays well, we play well, right? Well, he's had about 3 good games in 25. Like, how are you expecting us to do well if he's a vital part of doing well if he doesn't play well? It just doesn't make any sense to me why these comments keep coming out and he keeps defending them all the time. It's absolutely baffling to me. And I'm going to be nice because we won, and clearly he never made any severe mistakes. But yeah, I don't really.
It's difficult, isn't it? Do you know what? He was brought in to play the quarterback role, and if they're going to play him there as the number 4, then why is he not spraying the ball to the wingers? Because that's what he's good at.
Yeah.
And if he starts doing that, then maybe we'll see a massive improvement in him. But what he's doing right now is just crap.
Yeah.
Like, there's no other way of putting it. It's awful. And how on earth is captain of this club? It's just...
But that just shows you what state the club is in. If Jonjo Shelvey, one of the probably, in my opinion, in this current starting 11, one of the least performing, like the underperforming player in this team is the captain, like that just tells me everything. He was nowhere near the captaincy before. So how he's just
not
suddenly...
even vocal.
No, he's not even a leader. Like leadership and Jonjo Shelvey would be something I would just not put together whatsoever. Like I just wouldn't. But unfortunately, it is what it is. But
Bruce loves him, and that's the problem.
Yeah, well, that just tells us everything we need to know, isn't it? So yeah, Jonjo Shelvey probably have a 5 for me today. Sorry, I might seem a bit harsh, but nah.
I think that's generous, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, it's because we won, so I kind of don't want to be too negative, but yeah, I don't think he's overly great. Yeah, I'll give Sean Longstaff to you.
I thought he had a great game. I think he's been pretty decent the last few games, to be honest. And it just shows you he was out the team for personal reasons. There was nothing else to it. It must.
Oh, I think he's gone again.
Have I gone again?
Yeah, you're gone again. You're back now.
I'm going to move rooms. You're going to get a tour of the flat.
Oh, there we go. We're getting a house tour on Play Ratings today, guys. Giving you everything to do.
Just gone past this, Bobby. Let me get on the Wi-Fi and we should be all right. Right, we should be better now.
Okay, yeah. I can see you again now.
Yeah, no, Longstaff's been class. He's been class. He was class today. Like, he just puts a shift in. He was everywhere.
I thought he had a better game today than he has done for... Because I don't know if it was last game or the Tottenham game where he was really poor. And I was like, oh, God, like, I don't rate Longstaff, but I rate him as, like, I want him to do well because he's a local lad. And, like, you know, you always want the academy products to do well. But there's always that thing overshadowing enough where it's like, oh, Matty's better than Sean or, you know, things like that. But, yeah, I do agree with you. I thought he had a better game today than usual.
Yeah, I thought he was good today. He seemed to be all over the pitch all the time.
Yeah.
So
he does work hard.
He does. The talent's there. I think under a better manager, he'd thrive. Like you saw it, he was a 50 million player under Rafa.
Yeah.
Under Bruce, he's a £10.50 player. So,
if that.
Yeah, it's just embarrassing the way it's dropped.
100%.
And you see it in the standard of a player like Longstaff because you don't get linked to Manchester United for 50 million if you're shy.
Exactly. So, Manchester United must be laughing now because they'd be thinking, what the hell were we thinking even?
But even imagine a player would be there.
Million. Yeah, exactly. So there is a player there. It's just obviously not being coached out a lot. Well, like a lot of other players, I guess, in this. So what do you reckon Sean Longstaff gets today?
I'd give him an 8 today. I thought he was really good.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Okay, so Miguel Almirón, we had a super chat here earlier. Let me just go and find the super chat. There it is. Goaling and much love for the Paraguayan assassin Miguel Almirón. We won, you know. Yeah, I thought with Miggy, in my opinion, I love Miggy. Like, he's one of my favourite players at the club. His work rate is phenomenal. He always tries hard for the team, and he's just really hard to dislike. But I feel he's been quite quiet the last couple of games. I don't know whether that's because we were now Saint-Maximin's back. We're kind of relying on Saint-Maximin for that creativity. And obviously, when Saint-Maximin was out, the very first period where he was out, we relied on Almirón a lot more because he offered that pace, he offered that creativity. I personally feel like Almirón is better centrally, like as a central player, which Saint-Maximin's kind of been taking over that role since he's come back. So maybe that's why we're not seeing the best of Almirón now, because obviously he's not in his best position, if that's, you know, what you want to call it. Obviously now Wilson's back. We're probably not going to see Almirón centrally unless Saint-Maximin gets moved back to the wing. But I thought, again, he was all right. He made some decent drives forward and he was quite on the ball. He was quite technical today. My only issue that I have with him is sometimes he's a bit weak. Like, he just goes down a lot. He goes down very easily. Yeah. And I think that's a part of his game he needs to work on a little bit, because you know, these South American flair players, that's just how they are. But he does need to work on that bit of his play. But I love him, and I really do, you know, appreciate him as a person. And again, it's probably something to do with the coaching, because obviously, as we've just been saying about Sean Longstaff, you know, he's not the best under this coach. But yeah, I thought he had a solid game again today. I don't know about you. Probably similar to me, I guess.
Yeah, I love Miggy. He's easily my favourite player at the club at the minute. I just think he gives everything.
He does every time. Even if he is quiet, you can still see he's working hard and gives everything he can to the game.
He literally he runs for 90 minutes. He doesn't give up. He tackles. He tries to break the play. You're right. He's weak as shit.
Yeah.
He's got no strength there at all. But he just gives everything, doesn't he? He leaves it all on the pitch, which is what you want.
He's someone that we appreciate as fans, because we've always said we want someone who tries, want someone who works hard. We're not bothered about like gorgeous football. We just want like a team that tries, and he is like the epitome of that. Obviously, with him and Jacob Murphy, who, you know, boyhood fans of the club, Matt Ritchie, like they're the type of players you need, 100%.
Definitely, but 100%. I think you're right. He needs to be playing the number 10 role, isn't he? That's his best position. And I think there was a patch at the start of the season when he had Miggy in the middle, Maxi on the right or the left, and it just worked really well. And it was when Miggy started picking up some goals, and so that's where he should be playing. But I don't think he knows where he's playing under Bruce.
No, I don't think he does. He looks lost, but a lot of them do, and that's a problem. But yeah, I thought he was decent again today. I don't think he really influenced the game hugely, but he always worked hard. He's always really good. So he can have a 7 for me, I guess. That's maybe a bit rude, but I'm being, you know, pedantic about it. Obviously, Starman once again, amazing once again. I'll give you Saint-Maximin.
He was class. Absolute class.
He just is, isn't he, man? He's just
freaking
brilliant.
Do you know what? In the past, I sort of said, he's a liability. He's not as good as he's made out to be. But just look at the impact he's had the last 3 games. Like, West Ham were petrified of him today. Every time he got the ball, you just saw their defenders backing off.
Who is it? Kufal or Sufal, whichever one it is. Literally was just backing away every time he was running. He was just like backing away, like, you know, just didn't want to know today.
It's the worst thing you can do with him as well, because that man will just run. He's got legs like a tank. They're enormous, and it's just that burst of speed that gets him away. And he again today, if he played 90 minutes, we would have won that very, very easily.
Yeah, he's fire. I hope the injury isn't obviously severe, because that's my only issue with him. Because I know he's targeted a lot because he is our target man. So he's targeted from teams a lot. Sometimes their tactics are just to foul him, make sure he doesn't get any further up the pitch. So I know that he is targeted a lot, and he's not protected. We've had this in the past. He's not protected enough by referees and things like that. To be fair, I didn't think the officiating was too bad today.
No, I thought he had a good game.
Yeah, I thought the ref had a decent game. But hopefully the injury isn't too bad, because he just isn't. He's not getting a long enough run in the team without an injury, where he's out 2, 3, 4 games, and that's just not good enough. Like you really, I know, again, you can't blame him fully, because we've had several serious injuries in this squad, which is obviously something to do with the medical staff, something to do with the coaching staff,
the lack of training.
Yeah, exactly. The days off that they're getting after a loss, like it's just, you know, it's not good enough. But again, he can't be fully to blame for that. I just wish he would stay up more times. Like today, when obviously Craig Dawson got the second yellow card, he was fouled, but he stayed up. And that's exactly what I want him to do. I don't want him to go down to the ground, because we got a goal at the end of it. So I don't want him to keep going down like that. But yeah, as you say, he's just mint, isn't he? He's class. He's absolutely class, and we've seen the difference in the last 3 games with him being in.
Definitely, the impact he's had has just been. It's probably kept us up, to be honest. I know he missed that 100%. Massive chunk because he's made of glass, but if we stay up, it's because of this period where he's come back and won the games for us effectively. Yeah, I feel sad that we're not going to get, because, you know, he'll be the first one out the door, in my opinion. Whether it's this summer, whether it's January, I don't know, but he will be gone, because he'll have so many people, many clubs after him, and I just feel really sad that like we won't have even seen the best of him, because again, he hasn't had a long enough run in the team. We've been battling relegation. He hasn't had great, you know, a lot of great quality around him, and I just feel really sad. Like, it's going to kill me, because Ben Arthur
is probably in modern day. Obviously, I did a show with you, and I said Ben Arthur's probably my favourite player. You know, ignoring Shearer, he's probably my favourite player for the club, and he's the same. Didn't get to see his full potential for long enough, and it's going to kill me. Honestly, it's going to kill me and a lot of other people, a lot of our fans when he leaves. I think it's going to be really sad.
So when you look at how good he is in a shit team, imagine him in a decent team. I mean, barring a miracle where we actually do get bought out, which who knows?
Yeah.
Why would you want to stay? That's the big question. It's like a player of his potential isn't going to want to stay here.
Yeah, and there's gonna be no reason for him to stay, like you say. No. There just isn't. But yeah, it was great again today. Brilliant.
I'd easily give him a 9 today.
Yeah, easy.
Man of the match.
He was great. If he played the full game, he probably would have even been perfect. But yeah 9 is a good. I agree with that. Joelinton, for me, again, I think for about 65, 70 minutes, he was good again. I thought his hold-up play was really, really well. Really good. I thought he made some really decent balls forward for the goals as well, or for the shots that we had. He made some really good tackles as well. I thought he was good again today. I think we're really seeing him. The run he's having in the team is improving him. It's improving his mentality and his work rate, and probably his confidence on top of that, because that's, it's always been the excuse, maybe a goal will improve his confidence. Obviously, a goal from him today did really, really well for the goal. There was a couple of shots where he played some really good balls in as well. And I just think he's having a really good time at the moment, and that's what we wanted to see. It's just took yonks, like
far
absolute, like an age to get to this point. Because again, he's still not perfect. I thought the last 20 minutes he was I thought he went back to being a little bit, obviously, Joelinton style again. Like, he was losing balls, he was putting some silly fouls in, but for the most part, I thought he had a really good game again today. Him and Murphy were really again. I think for the past 4 games now, I've brought them 2 people up. Murphy and Joelinton had really good games again today. But yeah, I thought it was good, and hopefully it just keeps building and building from here, because he's another one that he just needs it coaching out of him. He's not going to get it in under Steve Bruce, even though he has improved.
Definitely.
But look how long it's took. It took like 18, 19 months for him to even get to this point where he's improved a bit. So yeah, Joelinton can have an 8 for me today.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
Yeah, so we're going to come on to the subs now. Obviously, the first sub was Callum Wilson, so I'll give him a you, Josh.
Do you know what? I love Callum Wilson. But you could see how desperate he was for a goal today.
Yeah.
Like, he had a couple of pings and you just thought, mate, come on, square it there. But I thought he did really well. There was the one where he cut across for Miggy, wasn't it? And it was cleared off the line.
Yeah.
I thought he did really well. As I say, he came on and impacted the game. You saw the change in the team when he came on. He had a bit of fight about him. And
there was I don't know if it was a shot in the first half where I think the keeper fumbled it. Their keeper had an absolute stinker today, by the way. Absolutely horrendous game.
Yeah.
He fumbled it, and he like kind of palmed the ball out, and I thought Callum Wilson would be on the end of that to tap it in, which he has been before. And I think it was Joelinton's side, and he wasn't there to tap it in, which is where you can see the difference in. I know we have now figured out Joelinton's not a striker. I mean, it's took us this long to figure out this. Not us, but Steve Bruce. But obviously, that's where you can tell the killer instinct's not there, for Joelinton, but where it would have been for Callum Wilson.
Natural striker, isn't he, Wilson?
Yeah,
100%. Absolute quality.
And I think if Maxi stays on this form, if he's not injured, God, touch wood, I think Callum Wilson's going to be on the end of a few more goals again this season.
Oh, definitely. It'd be one of our highest returns for years, won't it? Probably since Denver Bar. But he's brilliant. I love him. He's one of the best signings we've made for years.
100%. A striker. We haven't, because we've never really, if you think about it, replaced Shearer, in my opinion. Like, I'm not even putting Callum Wilson on Shearer's level at all. But in terms of like a striker like a talisman striker where you know that he's always going to be reliable and scoring goals, he's always going to be a goal poacher, then, maybe, since Bar and Cisse, you could say Ron John possibly, but permanently we haven't had.
It's the first number 9 we've signed for years, isn't it, really?
Yeah, fact.
He's just brilliant. But he came on today, he did a job. And he's good. So I'll give him a 7 for today, I reckon. I don't think you give him much higher than that.
No, because he hadn't played most of the game, so yeah, that's fair enough. Joe Willock, look,
10.
There's no reason why he should not be playing, and I know they're going to use the excuse, he's an impact sub. Look what he's done in the past. like, 2 games. No, well, the past 3 games. No, that's not him. Like, we need that energy, like Shelvey and Sean Longstaff, because Sean Longstaff doesn't have an ounce of pace about him. Shelvey doesn't do anything. He's that energy we need in midfield, and there's no reason. Yes, fair enough, it impacts up maybe if the game's dragging, like he's won us the game again today, like he did against Spurs. But we need that energy, we need that youth, we need that like desire in the midfield that we don't carry at this current time. I feel like, in my opinion, I would sign him if it was 15 million. I think
he's not a 20 million pound player, is he?
If you get into 20 million plus, that's when I'm going to draw the line, because I think there's probably similar quality players you can get for that price, especially in midfield, which is what we've been, crying out for absolutely months. If he's going to be 15 million, I wouldn't even hesitate to sign him. I think that would literally be the first thing I did in the summer personally if it was me.
Yeah.
And I was running the club, but we don't run the club. We have idiots running the club. So I think it'll just be like another Lazaro type situation where we can see the quality. He's so good when he comes on, scored a couple of decent goals, and we're going to let him go. That's just what
it's
I
a
feel
Newcastle
like.
thing to do, isn't it?
Totally Newcastle thing to do.
It's the same thing with Rondon.
Yeah, exactly. And then, we lose them and they end up getting better moves elsewhere. It's just, I don't think he's going to get in the Arsenal team, in my opinion, right now. Maybe, if they said, another year loan, which I wouldn't really see the benefit for us then, because we're kind of improving him for Arsenal, later on down the line. But yeah, I would sign him.
Definitely. He's such a decent little player. And he wants to play, and he's better than what we got.
Yeah, exactly.
So...
And you can, in the interviews, he's always buzzing and so happy. And like, he's another player that I think we would really, really appreciate, because no offense, but if you go to the Emirates, it's literally a library. Like, the atmosphere is absolutely atrocious, even when fans are there. It's awful. But he's another player we'd appreciate because he wants to play for the badge. He understands what it is, how important it is to go out and try and win a game rather than just not to get beat. I'm 100% on agreement. I mean, I know he only played 9 minutes, but he scored the winning goal. You can't really give him less than
10.
Less than a 10, can you?
Yeah,
you just can't.
Gets a
10. I mean, Andy Carroll, there's no reason to really touch on Andy Carroll, to be honest. He was only there for friggin' 30 seconds again.
He nearly played Wilson in, though. That was a great ball.
Yeah, it was really, really good over the top. It was brilliant. Yeah, it was brilliant. But there's again another 30 seconds. Why? Like, there's just why? He's just getting his wage every now and again. Like,
unless he's got a clause in that he has to make a certain amount of appearances to get another contract. That's all I can think.
I don't know, but I mean, I feel sorry for him because he's an, I wouldn't say a legend maybe, but he's a Newcastle lad, academy wise. I do feel sorry for him, but there's not really point in giving him a rating for 30 seconds. Like,
I'd give him a 10.
Yeah. Okay, finally, Steve Bruce. Now, I normally do the rants on the show, but because Josh is our guest, now I'm in charge today. I'll let you take the lead of Steve Bruce today. Just give me your thoughts on Steve Bruce today.
In total, or just today?
Both. You can give us today. You can tell us what you think. Really, I mean, we're here for the rants normally.
Steve Bruce today, first half, got it absolutely spot on. I'll give him his dues, whether it was him or whether it was someone else. He got it spot on. But in that second half, he's obviously dragged them in, and he said to them, "Do you know what, lads? We've got this. We're 2-0 up. Sit back, relax, play the game out." And that second half was us, wasn't it? It was atrocious.
Oh my God, it was absolutely friggin' awful. I felt sick through that second half. It was horrific.
It was just so bad, and you can see that's his input. He's obviously got hold of the players and said, "We're going to sit back, we're going to hold this lead, and we're going to win it." And it almost went wrong. And he'll take full credit for the inspired substitutions, but who else are you bringing on? Like, it's not
he'll fully say that's why. That's why I did it.
But he's inept. He's so far out of his depth with this club. Obviously, it's always been his dream job, apparently. But he's just inept. He's not a Premier League manager anymore. He's a dinosaur. His tactics are poor. His team selection's normally poor. It's just out of his depth. But he's a yes man for Ashley, and that's the problem. That's what Ashley wants.
Yeah, and I'm concerned now that looking at this and looking at the results that we've had, he's going to get another extra year. He's only got 1 year left in his contract. If
Ashley still owns the club in the summer, Bruce will still be managing next summer.
Yeah, I think so. I was thinking that no matter what happened, I think we were having him for another year.
Yeah, definitely. I think unless something drastic changes, Ashley will go, well, you kept us up. And that's what he wants, and that's what he needs to keep the Premier League money coming in. But the whole time that Bruce is manager, we will be relegation fodder. Any other season, we're relegated. It's just because teams around us are just as poor.
Yeah.
And people don't see that. Fulham should have had us in the relegation zone. They had 2 games to do it, and they messed them up because they're a poor team. But Bruce is just, he's inept.
Yeah.
That's there's a better word for it.
No, there isn't. He's way out of his depth. I always laughed. I can't actually remember who said it, but I saw a tweet on Twitter a while ago, and it was like Steve Bruce looks like a granny waiting for a bus, like every time he's on the touchline, and he does. He just looks like a passenger in the game every single time. He just doesn't look involved. I mean, today he was giving Shelvey some advice. I thought, oh, friggin' hell, this can only end one way. Steve Bruce giving Shelvey some advice. I mean, he's obviously told him to sit back, because that's exactly what we did. The second half was awful. Yes, the first half, credit where credit's due. We went out fighting straight away. We did really, really well against, in my opinion, a poor West Ham side today. Apart from obviously the second half where we just kind of invited it. But yeah, they were poor today. They didn't, in my opinion, look like a top 4 side today.
No, they didn't show up at all, West Ham.
No, and Lingard obviously looks like he's injured as well. It looks like his hamstring's gone. Hopefully it hasn't, because I like the lad. I really hope he does well. I hope he, gets to go to the Euros. But yeah, I totally agree. The second half was awful. First half, credit where credit's due, but I don't know if I can stand another year this. Like, I'll be great. I'll be absolutely great by this Christmas.
I've just lost interest. Like, majorly, the whole season, I've barely been interested. Even when the games are on, I'm sitting there on my phone because I'm not massively interested in it. It's just so bad.
It's just awful to watch, isn't it? The football. Like, we play well. I say this every game. We play well for 30 minutes and then drop off completely, regardless of what the score is. We drop off after about 30, 35 minutes.
Yeah,
like,
the fitness is terrible.
Yeah, really bad. And again, it brings us to lack of training, lack of coaching. Like, we having days off when we don't need them. Like, they're professional athletes. They need to be at the top of the game every single time, and they're just not. We're getting injuries here, there and everywhere. But yeah, he can have credit where credit's due for the past couple of games, for a couple of impact subs.
Is it him though, or is it Jones? That's the problem.
I think, you know what, I saw a tweet as well earlier. Twitter's like my newspaper, where it was like, we're doing this despite Bruce. We're not doing it like he's not helping it. We're just doing it despite him. And I think that is the case, because there's players like Willock who are being left out for no apparent reason, coming on, scoring a winner, and then Steve Bruce is saying, well, he's at impact. No, that's not how it worked. He's come out today and said he's a player we'd like to keep. Right, well, show that then. Show him your loyalty and he will want to stay. If you're just keeping him on the bench for no reason, we may as well just go back to Arsenal and sit on the bench.
Yeah,
there's no reason for him to be here. Like, his family's in London. He's grown up in Arsenal. He's an Arsenal Academy graduate. There's no reason for him to be here if he's just going to do the exact same thing he's doing at Arsenal. No need. So you need to show him the loyalty, and you need to have better man management, considering Jonjo came out and said, you were a great man manager to me.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a lie, but it is what it is. Steve Bruce is what it is, I guess.
I definitely can't see it. He's obviously got his favourites. I know every manager has their favourites, but I can't see the man. When you had Rafa there, you saw that the players wanted to play for him, wanted to play for the club. Yeah. With Bruce, they just don't seem to want to be involved.
No, they're not as interested. They're not as fight, like, as we say. They're not as bothered to fight for the badge, because you don't play for you don't play for yourself. You don't play for the club, really. You play for the fans who are supporting you every single week without us being there. And I just think Steve Bruce doesn't help himself with these absolute ridiculous comments that he comes out with.
It's embarrassing, isn't it?
His press conferences are honestly like cringeworthy. Like, the second-hand embarrassment I get from some of the things he says.
Do you know what? I don't even watch
too much.
I can't watch him. I used to watch Rafa's because he spoke sense.
Yeah.
But I watch his and you just think, bro, why are you talking about food? Like, why are you talking about your Sunday dinner?
How's the bit did you say is going to literally follow us around as a club for years?
I'm surprised there's not Apple Crumble t-shirts out yet. And it's just mental. The man, that's the Premier League manager. And yeah, I was having my dinner, so I didn't watch the match. Like, mate, no one cares.
No.
Like, I don't care about his opinions anymore. You listen, you think, you're out. Do you even watch the training sessions?
Does he? I think probably doesn't it at this point.
No. It's just... if he was any other club's manager, you'd be sitting there going, mate, what have you done?
Yeah.
But he's our manager, and it's embarrassing.
That's what I mean. It's like shameful, isn't it? Absolutely shameful. We're at this point in that. Like, apart from Rafa, like since Bobby Robson, apart from Rafa, like we've had some absolutely horrific managers through our door.
Yeah, definitely. And he's the worst.
Literally horrendous. Oh, he's by far the worst. We've had John Carver, who was claiming everyone he was the best coach in the world. Bloody what's
McLaren.
Yeah, McLaren, Joe Kinnear, Sam Allardyce. Like, oh God, we've had some absolutely horrendous managers. But hopefully not for much longer, because Lord, I don't know if my blood pressure can take this much longer. But
we need something.
Fingers crossed. We're another 3 points to safety today. Massive win. You know, considering the way Fulham are playing at the moment. Obviously, they've got Arsenal this weekend. Brighton have got Chelsea, and Burnley have got Man United. We're both Brighton and Burnley currently 9 points clear from Fulham. So another 3 points under our belt, and we should be okay. But it is Newcastle United, and we never make things easy. But thank you, Josh, for joining me. Really, really appreciate it.
No problems, anytime.
Thank you, Keg and Matt, for trusting me with this, by the way. I hope it's gone okay. Few technical issues, but we're all right so far. But thank you again. Have a great weekend, everybody. And I'm going to do a little keg. I'm going to say, enjoy yourself.